The truth is, everything your association is responsible for is deteriorating. Whether it's the parking lot asphalt or community pool, it all gets old and wears out. It's only a matter of time before each asset needs to be repaired or replaced. And it all costs money. Unfortunately, many boards, in trying to minimize costs, choose to ignore funding for these repairs or replacements. We saw the tragic consequence of that strategy in the collapse of Champlain Tower South in 2021. How to make the right choice to properly deal with the ongoing cost of deterioration is what we'll be covering in this Reserve Study Basics webinar.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Paige, for the introduction, and thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Reserve funding should be one of an association's largest budget line items, but all too many boards think reserve funding is optional, and that creates a problem for the sustainability of the association. We designed this webinar to give you a clear understanding of the challenges facing your association, pointing out what is in a reserve study and how it can help your association. We also want to give you some key takeaways at the end to help you make sure you have enough reserves to be able to accomplish your necessary repair and replacement projects in a timely manner, so you can take good care of your association. And that's what we're defining as success. So let's jump right into today's content on Reserve Study Basics. We're going to start with an understanding of the challenge, and then your association's role in addressing that challenge, and then we'll talk about actual reserve study issues before bringing the program to conclusion. And you start with an explanation or a reminder that living in community is a division of two things. Something or someone needs to define what and how it all works. And so there's some things that belong to the association, which is the common areas. Everyone owns that together in aggregate, and the board controls the maintenance and repairs and replacements of those things. And some things belong to individual owners. And so there's that interesting combination and that mixture of who is doing what and the challenges it gets involved with those interfaces. But it boils down to that the board is responsible to take care of the common areas for the benefit of individual owners. They don't have that power. They don't have that right. They're relying on the board to take care of all the common areas that surround their individual space. And that means the board needs to be diligent. And that's true because all the common areas are in a constant state of deterioration. If a board gets casual and starts not paying attention, they're going to get caught behind. All the assets of the association, once renew, then they inevitably get old and worn out. And that's just a fact of life on this planet. Mother Nature and Father Time are undefeated, and they don't negotiate. And that ongoing deterioration creates a cost because everything needs to get repaired or replaced. It's then up to the board to set a budget that keeps up with that ongoing cost of deterioration. So I want to be clear that reserve funding is driven by the ongoing cost of deterioration. Reserve funding is not caused by reserve studies. It's not caused by an overly conservative board. It's not caused by state laws. It's not caused by Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac. The need for reserve funding is driven by deterioration. And again, the board has no control over those costs. They are deterioration driven. But the board does have a choice about how to deal with those costs. They can ignore them, which leads to deterioration, conflict. It leads to declining home values, many things, all because the association won't have the money they need at the right time to keep things in good repair. So they can just ignore that reality that deterioration is happening, or they can budget funding to offset the ongoing cost of deterioration. That's the choice. So there's no choice in are the costs going to occur or not. The choice is in how to fund this very predictable cost. And there's three parties involved. There's the board that you see on the left, and making decisions, doing their best to move the association forward. There's the manager, in many cases, a professional who guides, coaches, gives their years of experience to recommend how things should be done. And then there's the homeowners on the right, and they're the ones who have the responsibility to pay for their ongoing assessments, and they are the ones who actually get to enjoy the maximized home values when things are done well. So what we're dealing with are associations, entities that are truly multi-million-dollar not-for-profit real estate organizations, and they are relying on good decisions made by an untrained volunteer board of directors to run the physical and financial operation of the association. And so you wonder why associations have challenges. And sarcastically, you can ask yourself, what could possibly go wrong? Have big organizations relying on untrained volunteers, and clearly there's opportunities for things to go poorly. Well, what does happen? Classically, associations tend to run themselves out of money, and that's because they're budgeting optimistically. They're reluctant to address the true cost of home ownership. That sounds like a lot of money. I don't want to do that. That'll raise the assessments. Just that anxiety over, should I do this? And that's just the concern that they have about what's going on at the association. And when they run themselves out of money, when they're running low, that creates special assessments, lagging home values, and even the safety concerns like we saw a little over 2 years ago with the tragic collapse of Champlain Towers South. And what I want to make clear is that when you don't have the funds to take good care of the common areas, bad things happen. So keep that in mind. It can be small. It could be just a special assessment. It could be that you have to wait for a leaky roof to get repaired, to get on a roofer's calendar. You have to deal with an entry gate that you have to get on the gate company's schedule to get that fixed, or it can be something significant. But bad things happen. You don't have the cash to get things done.
At Association Reserves, we make the present less stressful and the future more secure. If you want to join us in this mission, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Leave a comment down below on what you'd like to see us address in a future video. Let's plan for your best future.